You ever notice how the loudest chronographs get all the attention, while some of the best ones sit in the corner, swirling their drink like a secret agent? Today, we're fixing that, because there are 10 underrated chronographs collectors should be talking about, but aren't. And trust me, a few of these might just hijack your wish list. If you're into watches from quartz to spring drive, you know what to do. Crank the crown, settle in, and let's start with a piece that proves you don't need big money to get big swagger. The Seiko SSC 813 is what happens when a budget watch sneaks into a black tie event, and nobody notices it wasn't invited. This little speed timer channels the 60s Seiko chronograph spirit, but with solar tech that just sips light like it's an espresso. The Panda dial? It's classic, crisp, and weirdly confident, like a tuxedo that insists on wearing sneakers. What I love is the energy of this thing. It feels alive. It charges on your windowsill, it punches above its price, and it wears like whiskey neat, smooth, warm, and slightly dangerous. And at 39mm, it hugs the wrist with that Goldilocks just right charm collectors obsess over. Tell me, would you rock this as a daily, or is it too clean for your chaos? Drop it in the comments. The Maurice Lacroix Icon Chronograph is the watch you buy when you want integrated bracelet swagger, without selling a kidney to fund it. This silver-blue configuration hits differently. The dial catches light like ripples on a lake at sunrise, and that angular case? It's basically a power suit in stainless steel. What makes the Icon feel underrated is the confidence it brings to the table. It doesn't shout, it just leans back, crosses its arms, and lets the design speak for itself. The Valjoux-based movement inside has that familiar, satisfying rotor wobble. You can feel it hum through your wrist bones, like a tiny mechanical reminder that you made the right choice. Here's the real question. At this price, why aren't more collectors giving the Icon Chrono a shot? Is it the name, the logo, or is it simply too good for its own marketing? The Longines Avigation Big Eye is what happens when a vintage pilot chronograph raids the modern parts bin and walks out looking sharper than ever. That oversized subdial, the famous Big Eye, gives it this charming, slightly unhinged personality, like the watch is permanently raising an eyebrow at you. And at 41mm, it wears with that perfect pilot watch confidence, purposeful, legible, and ready for whatever turbulence life throws at you. Longines absolutely nailed the dial texture here. It has this matte, utilitarian grit that feels pulled straight out of a 1930s cockpit, but with modern loom that actually works past sunset. Inside beats the L688 column wheel movement, which gives the pushers that buttery, boutique-grade click, the kind you normally associate with pieces twice the price. Be honest with me. Is the Big Eye quirky cool, or does that oversized register drive you insane? I need to know. Subscribe, or else I'll send this cat to your house at 3 AM. The Tudor Black Bay Chrono is the watch that proves Tudor doesn't just borrow the crown's homework. Sometimes it hands in a better version. This thing mixes dive watch muscle with motorsport attitude, like a powerlifter who secretly drifts JDM cars on weekends. The Panda layout is pure charisma, and those screw-down pushers give it that tool watch swagger collectors pretend not to care about, but absolutely do. What I love most is how substantial it feels. Not heavy, substantial, like the case is carved from a single block of confidence. And the Breitling-linked movement inside, it's the kind of collaboration that makes collectors whisper man math under their breath while reaching for the credit card. So here's the challenge. Does this dethrone the Daytona as the people's chrono? Or is that heresy in your book? Tell me below, I'm ready for the fight. Quick break before we hit the next chronos. If you've been eyeing any of the watches I've mentioned, or maybe you're just doing some late-night grail hunting, check out the links in the description. They go straight to exquisite timepieces, who I'm proud to call the official sponsor of this channel. They're an authorized dealer for over 80 luxury watch brands, everything from Grand Seiko and Tudor to independents like Angelus and Ball. That means you're not just browsing random stock. You're looking at real inventory, backed by manufacturer warranties, and shipped globally. Personally, I trust them because I've used them, And I only work with partners I'd recommend to a fellow collector over coffee, and they actually answer emails. Rare in this game. Also, a little transparency. If you use my affiliate links and end up buying something, it helps support this channel at no extra cost to you. No pressure, but it means the world. Alright, back to the chronos. The Bremont Supermarine Chronojet is what happens when a dive watch and a fighter jet walk into a bar and decide to raise a troublemaking child. Everything about this piece feels tactical, focused, and unapologetically British. From the matte black case to the crisp white accents that pop like illuminated gauges in a cockpit. It's a chronograph that doesn't care about trends. It just wants to get the mission done. Bremont's triptych case construction gives it that uniquely rugged silhouette. You can spot it from across a room, the way you'd recognize a Spitfire's wings from a silhouette. And at 42mm, it wears with this athletic confidence, like it's daring you to scratch it just so it can prove a point. Let me ask you, does the jet's stealthy vibe hit your wrist sweet spot? Or are you more of a shiny steel traditionalist? Sound off below. The Omega Dark Side of the Moon isn't just a watch. It's a statement piece that glides onto the wrist like a midnight stealth bomber. Full ceramic, sculpted like it was carved from a block of obsidian, and paired with that inky dial. This thing doesn't shine, it absorbs light. It's a Speedmaster that refuses to play backup to the Moonwatch. It wants the spotlight, and honestly, it deserves it. Inside beats Omega's coaxial 9300, a movement so buttery smooth, it feels like someone greased time itself. The two-register layout cleans up the dial beautifully, giving it that modern, technical calm, like mission control after the adrenaline. And at 44.25mm, it wears big, yes, but in the same way a tailored leather jacket wears big. It's intentional, dominant, cinematic. Here's the debate starter. Is the dark side the best modern Speedmaster? Or is that pure sacrilege? I'm ready to hear it. The Glashutter Original CQ chronograph is the German overachiever of this list. The one that shows up early, takes meticulous notes, and still looks like it walked off a yacht catalogue. This blue dial version is stunning. It shimmers like deep water just before sunset, and the finishing? Classic Saxon precision. Every bevel, every index, every chamfered edge feels obsessively considered. What makes the CQ Chrono underrated is the craftsmanship per dollar ratio. At this price, most people jump straight to Omega or Rolex, but here, you're getting Glashutter level detail, a beautifully decorated in-house movement, a rotor that spins like a whisper, and a case that hugs the wrist with this quietly confident luxury. No shouting, no flexing, just taste. So tell me, is German watchmaking finally getting the love it deserves? Or is the CQ Chrono still too niche for mainstream collectors? Debate time. The Jacob & Co. Epic X chronograph is the moment this list steps out of the boutique and onto the red carpet. This is Jacob doing what Jacob does best. Big personality, sharp architecture, and a design language that refuses to be ignored. The skeletonized dial is a mechanical skyline, a little chaotic, a little dramatic, and completely hypnotic. In titanium, the Epic X wears shockingly light. You look at it and expect brute force. Instead, it feels like a feather dipped in adrenaline. The blue accents give it that futuristic pop, like a sci-fi cockpit blowing at midnight. And the open-worked movement? It's pure theatre. You can practically hear it whisper, "Why blend in when you were built to be stared at?" Here's my question. Is this art you wear on your wrist? Or is it a little too bold for everyday life? Choose your side. The Blancpain Bathyscaphe chronograph flyback is a tuxedo with a scuba license. Refined enough for a gala, capable enough for the Mariana Trench. This black dial version is stealth luxury at its finest. Nothing shouts, everything whispers. The ceramic case has that satin, almost stone-like presence, the kind you instinctively want to touch just to confirm it's real. Inside beats the legendary F385, a high-beat, column wheel flyback movement that feels like Swiss watchmaking showing off without ever cracking a smile. Press the pusher, and the chronograph snaps back with this clinical precision, like a surgeon resetting a bone. And on the wrist, it wears surprisingly lean, hugging the arm with that "I've arrived" quiet authority. So here's my challenge to you. At this price point, does Blancpain get the respect it deserves? Or is it still the most slept-on luxury dive chrono in the game? Tell me below. The Hublot Big Bang Unico Novak Djokovic isn't just a chronograph. It's a victory lap in watch form. Loud? Yes. Proud? Absolutely. But beneath the hype, this is one of the most technically impressive Big Bangs Hublot has put out. The skeletonized dial is a mechanical storm. Gears turning, columns snapping, wheels dancing like they're celebrating match point. The Unico movement has that unmistakable industrial swagger, the kind that makes you want to flip your wrist just to watch it flex. And the case? It wears like a piece of futuristic armor, bold angles, muscular presence, and a stance that says, "I didn't come here to play." Here's the real question. Is this the ultimate flex chronograph for the modern collector? Or is it simply too much watch for your everyday fit? I'm curious, would you wear this? Or is it art piece territory? All right, we've just cranked the crown through 10 underrated chronographs that deserve a lot more wrist time than they get. From Seiko's budget brawler to Hublot's futuristic showpiece, every one of these carries its own story, its own personality, and its own little spark of mechanical mischief. And honestly, that's why we collect. Not for hype, not for flexing, but for those moments, the click of a column wheel, the way a dial catches late afternoon light, the quiet thrill of discovering a piece nobody else in the room is talking about. If one of these watches whispered to you, tell me which one. I want to see where the chaos begins in the comments. And if you enjoyed hanging out in this little boutique of horological oddballs, go ahead and like the video. It helps more collectors find their next obsession. Some of the watches in this list have affiliate links down below. They cost you nothing, but they help support the channel while you hunt for grails, bargains, and dangerous man-math justifications. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the Chronosman crew. And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube knows that you will love the video on the screen.